Oh, Marissa.
My name's Marissa.
Yeah.
Marissa.
I'm going to forget it.
And my IT security team. This is IT security team. Yes.
Okay, great. Ready to go. Are you ready to go? Okay, welcome everyone. Thanks for coming. We were hoping for a few more people, but I know it's really a difficult time for everybody with your essays and your classes and exams, so thank you for coming. So we've got a couple of speakers today. So we have Marissa and, are you just
I'm doing a brief introduction.
Oh,
Someone
okay.
from the Hamilton Police Service.
No, I know Ray is, yes, okay. I just didn't know if you were both speaking.
Just
Any-
myself.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. So Marissa is from UTS, and she's going to speak first, okay?
Okay, thanks, Kia. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marissa, and I'm from the IT security team here on campus. I was given the opportunity just to touch briefly on your responsibility as students and how you can stay safe online. IT security is not just a concern for our team or the folks in IT. It's a concern for everyone. Everyone has a part to play in IT security. It's a shared responsibility. If you're interested, you can read up on our information security policy as well as acceptable use policy. And I've linked to it in the presentation here. Right? Should make smart choices online. Treat everyone else how you want to be treated. Always be suspicious of messages that might look a little fishy, as well as pop-ups. Try to avoid pop-ups and things like that might affect a computer. So your Mac ID, you guys probably all know about your Mac ID. You have one, you use one to access various resources around Mac. It's valuable. You should protect it like you would money. If there's a chance for your Mac ID might become compromised, you could put the university's reputation at risk, as well as a risk to any of the data that you have behind it. Your Mac ID credentials should never be used outside of McMaster. So for various social media accounts or emails, you should always use a personal email address. And never reuse your password. If you use a password for multiple accounts and one of those accounts might become breached, then your account would also be compromised at that. If you receive any suspicious messages, we have an inbox set up where you can send it to us. We can analyze it, and within a few minutes we can let you know if it's saved. Yes, you can click on the message, you can open an attachment, or no, you should just delete it. And if you did enter your credentials, kind of where to go from there, changing your password, running scans, things like that. Okay, protecting your Mac ID. Like I said, you should make sure that you create strong and unique passwords. Don't be reusing your password on any other sites. As I mentioned, if one account is breached, then essentially all other accounts that share those credentials are compromised. When you create a password, try to keep it simple and something that you'll remember. Try to use some various password complexities like adding exclamation marks, numbers, and things like that. And you should also enable two-factor authentication for any accounts that offer it. A lot of accounts now, such as Facebook, Gmail, other social media accounts, they do offer that option. So if you enable it, that'll add another layer of protection for you. On your phone, computer, anything else that's network connected, ensure that you install updates regularly. Know what programs you're installing. Make sure it's from somewhere reputable. Okay? As well as use an antivirus plan on anything that's connected to the network. So from your tablets, your smartphone, to your laptops. Make sure that that antivirus plan is installed, as well as you've got it from a reputable source. Okay, so what happens if you did click on a link or you open an attachment that might be malicious? There's a few things you can do. First of all, you can reach out to us, contact the UT services desk to get advice for that. Change your password. You can go to Mosaic to change your password through there. There's some steps that you can click on, and that'll help you change your password, as well as if you use that password for any other accounts, ensure that you change that password as well too. Again, if you receive any messages that you deem might be a little bit suspicious or doesn't quite seem right, you can forward it to us. We have an inbox set up at is-spam@mcmaster.ca where you can send those emails to. And again, we'll let you know if they're safe or not to open. Scan for malware. Make sure that your computer hasn't been infected. If you open an attachment or something else might have been loaded onto your computer, make sure you run a full virus scan. Again, reach out to UTS if you have any questions. You can ask at the service desk. UTS is in Birch Science Building on the 2nd floor. You can also contact them through their email account or their extension there. If you have any any questionable emails, you can submit to is-spam@mcmaster.ca. Okay, so here are just some of the links if you're interested in reading up more about information security or about our security policy or any of the services that we offer. You can check out those sites. And just to summarize around safe browsing and cybersecurity, protect your credentials again like you would money. Value it. It's very valuable. And it's not something that you want to lose. Respect yourself and others online just like you do in your day-to-day life. Treat everyone the same. Ensure you use privacy settings in social media, Facebook, Instagram, all those accounts have advanced options where you can go in and you can specify who you want to see. And also have that awareness. Know if you're posting pictures, know who's going to see it. Question and think twice before opening a message, like I mentioned. And question any pop-ups or anything that looks unusual on your computer that might be fishy. And again, you can reach out to us, any of us at the service desk for IT security. And if you're interested in learning more, you can follow some of those links there, and I can provide, if anyone wants them, I can provide them to you, as well as the PowerPoint slide. And that's it. Thank you.
Hi, thanks for coming. Now we're going to hear from Constable Ray Wong. And Constable Ray Wong is with the Hamilton Police Force. And I'm going to introduce you, Ray, and you can take over.
Sure. So I've never used a smart board before, so I'll see if I can get this figured out. I guess I just pushed out the advanced slide. Excellent. Hi there, how's everybody? Good. Thank you very much for coming. My name is Constable Ray Wong with the Hamilton Police. I am, as you can see, in the Crime Prevention Branch. So today I'm going to talk to you about frauds and scams. Talk about kind of what they are, how they work, why people fall victim to it, as well as what you can do to prevent yourself from becoming a victim. Okay, so if there's any questions throughout this presentation, or if you have any experiences you want to share, feel free to go ahead and put up your hand, and we can just discuss what happened. Okay. So, fraud. Fraud is a criminal offense and is listed in the Criminal Code, Section 380. Okay. So there's a technical definition. Okay. Basically, anyone who, by deceit, falsehood, or other fraudulent means, whether or not it is a false pretense within the meaning of this act, defrauds the public or any person, whether ascertained or not, of any property, money, or valuable security or any service. That's very technical, a lot of words that may not be too easy to understand. So basically what this is saying is fraud is stealing property, money, or services by lying, pretending, or tricking you. Okay, so that's much easier to understand. Okay. So, how are they going to contact you? How do they get your name? How are they going to reach out to you? Because they need to somehow initiate a communication with you. Okay, so one thing that we're all familiar with is the telemarketing scam, where you get the phone call, usually around dinner time, and they are talking to you on the phone. It's usually someone you've never heard or met before. Okay. There is a lot of online scams now, which also include emails, text messages. There are websites, pop-ups, and stuff like that that will try and get your attention and try and get you to respond to them. We also have good old-fashioned mail, which is a little less common now, where you get a letter in the mail. It used to be back in the day, we used to get the mail from Publishers Clearinghouse saying you wanted something, or you want a trip, or some kind of timeshare kind of thing. It's not so much common now, but back in the day it was, so I'll just touch upon that briefly. And you still get some door-to-door scams, okay, where people are actually coming to your door, knocking on your door, and they're either trying to sell you a service, sell you a something like a water heater or a new furnace, or they may be trying to get you to do repairs on your roof that you don't really need. So that still happens as well. Okay, so how do they get your name? So obviously you guys are all students here at McMaster, and in that way there's an ability maybe to get their hands on a student directory. It may be public knowledge, it may not be public knowledge. It could be obtained through various means, but you know, sometimes these fraudsters can get a hold of your student directories, as well as telephone directories, like the phone book. Okay, Canada 411, you can look up people's names that are published with landlines. Not so much with cell phones, but with landlines for sure. Okay. And in that way, they may be able to get your address as well. Email lists. So again, there could be a directory of email, like a list of emails, either from the school. You may be signing up for things online, in which case your emails are kept on a database, and that email may either be taken from that legitimate business through some kind of means, or it could be sold to different other people that they can access all that information. Okay. Internet and online websites. Whenever you, a lot of times when you want to join a site or become a member of something, you always have to put your name, your email address, at least, right? Maybe create an account with a password. Sometimes you may be in a legitimate site. Sometimes you may be in an illegitimate site where they may be just out there to get your information. Either way, once they have your email address and your name and some other personal information, they could use that. They could sell it to someone else, or they could trade. So they can trade with other con artists. Okay, just like organized crime, sometimes con artists, if they've conned somebody and there's a victim there, then they pass that name on to someone else, another con artist, so they can try with a different angle. Okay, so you may be victimized several times. Okay, any questions? This was tailored to international students. I know there are there any international students here? Yes? A couple? Okay, so this may not necessarily just apply to international students, but this presentation is going to apply to everybody. Okay, but they want to expose some vulnerabilities, right? So if you are a person who's new to the country and has a language barrier or doesn't understand the culture, right? Or local laws and procedures, then you may be targeted and you may become a victim easier than somebody who's lived here a long time or is born here. Okay, and yeah, they do target international students. They target newcomers, people like refugees, people that are new to the country. They will exploit the fact that they don't know what's going on here. They'll exploit their lack of knowledge of policing, immigration, government services, all that stuff, and they will target you. Okay. Okay. So how do frauds work? So you kind of ask yourself, how does somebody get fraud, like get thousands of dollars taken from them? Okay. Well, these guys are really good. They prey upon your weaknesses. So they use a lot of high pressure tactics. They will call you up and talk very urgently, very quickly, just to almost overwhelm you with information. Okay? So if you're caught off guard, they're going to use like, this is an emergency. They're going to threaten you with, you have to act now, or the police are going to come and arrest you. They may, play on your fears. They may say something like, a family member of yours has been injured and is in the hospital, or someone's been arrested overseas, okay? So all these things that, like say you get woken up in the morning and you don't know what's going on, say if you're caught off guard, then you may not be able to process this quickly. And you may get caught up in it and panic a bit. And that's where they've lowered your defenses enough that they can, you know, change your mind and get you to do stuff. Okay. Again, the language barrier is a big thing. If you don't fully understand what's being said, then you kind of go along and you agree with things and start telling them information that you shouldn't be telling them. Okay, so they use all those things to get information from you. They may promise you a big reward, like you just won a lottery, or you just won a trip to the Caribbean. Okay? Or they may threaten you with punishment, like they may say that this is the Canada Revenue Agency and you owe a certain amount in back taxes and you have to pay now or else we're going to send the police to arrest you. Okay, they'll threaten you and stuff like that. So that's how they get people to do it. There are some demographics that are more largely affected, particularly the elderly, and again, immigrants and newcomers. So, telemarketing scams. So this is the good old phone call from your, I'm just going to go. So this is your good old telephone call, either on your cell phone or your landline, okay? If most phones have the ability of seeing call display, so if you have that, then, you know, and you know that something is, if this person doesn't seem like he's legitimate, then just jot down the phone number, jot down any names associated with that phone call. Okay, that's a piece of information that may be useful, but I'm going to get into a little bit later on, where that phone number may be part of a spoof, in which it's not the actual number they're calling from. But anyway, it's a piece of information that you can jot down. Okay, so check the call display first. If you don't recognize the number, then you may not want to answer the phone at all. Okay. Or if it's from an unknown caller, same thing. Okay, but you know, just be on guard if you don't recognize the number, especially if it's a phone number that's from, you don't recognize the area code. It may be, you know, like 2 or 3 extra digits, you know, then you know it could be an international phone call or something like that. Don't even bother picking up the phone. Just mute your phone and just ignore it. Okay. Have you ever answered the phone and you say hello? And then nobody answers. You say hello, hello, and then finally somebody picks up. Well, that's a clue that this person is using some kind of automatic dialer. Okay, so they'll have a machine that will dial all sorts of numbers, phone numbers, right? And then they won't notify the operator until somebody answers the phone. But there's usually a bit of a delay. So if you have that pause there, it's probably because somebody's dialing a whole bunch of numbers, and then they finally heard a voice and they're picking up the phone to talk to you. Okay, so if you hear that pause, say hello a couple times and just hang up. Okay, and if it's important, and if it's somebody that wants to talk to you, then they'll call back, right? But the telemarketer is not going to call you back. They'll just move on to the next phone number. So at any time, if you're talking to somebody and you don't agree with them, you don't trust them, they're asking you all sorts of personal questions, you have every right to hang up. Don't worry about being polite. You could be polite and say, I'm sorry, you know, I'm not interested, I'm sorry, I don't know who you are, I'm going to hang up. But in any case, hang up the phone. That cuts the conversation right off, and they can't ask you any more questions, they can't take advantage of you in any other way. So just hang up the phone. Don't worry about offending them, because they really don't care, because they're just going to, again, phone the next person. And if you, as long as you stay on the phone, the more information you may end up giving. Not just your name, not just your phone number, not just your address. You may start giving them, they may be asking you for banking information, credit card information, all this stuff. So the longer you stay on the phone, the more likely you're going to give up something. So hang up right away. So I mentioned call ID spoofing. So sometimes people can disguise their phone numbers on call-up display. Okay, so you may get a phone call and it may say Hamilton Police on it, right? But you pick up the phone and you're talking to the person and it's not really the police. Okay, so even though you have call display, be a little bit wary of who it may be coming from, especially if it's a conversation that's kind of strange and doesn't seem right. Okay. So yeah, make sure you, and if you don't, and if you have you can ask that caller questions, like, you know, get information from them, who they're working for, a callback number, so you can call them back if you have to. And if they can't provide you any of that, you know that person's not legitimate, right? Because if it's a bank or, you know, the government, whatever, they don't usually call. But if, you know, if you get a phone number from them, or if you look up their, later on after you've done the conversation, you can look up their contact information, call them, and ask them if they've made any phone calls, and you know whether it was fraudulent or not. So here are some of the examples I'll go through of telemarketing scams. There's a good old CRA scam, there's an immigration scam, emergency scam, virtual kidnapping, vacation scam, and Microsoft scam. Okay. Some of you might have already heard or seen these, or actually been a victim of. So, Canada Revenue Agency. So everyone's pretty familiar with this. This is probably the most popular scam out there right now. You've all, maybe you've all received this phone call. I know I've received this call maybe like 6 or 7 times. Is there any way I can play this?
Yeah, try clicking on the icon.
Okay, so here, tell me if anybody recognizes this. Is there volume? Sound? Okay, try it again. Oh, it could be. Oh, it's going to be really loud. So I'll try to get that shot. Oh, go back. Maybe not. Okay, no big deal. I'm sure you've all heard it before, though. It's so it's the old. It'll be a very generic, like robotic voice. It'll be like, "This is the Canada Revenue Agency. You are in arrears for your taxes. You owe $5,000. You must, you know, send money immediately, or else we will send the authorities to your house and we will arrest you." Okay, it's right from the start. You know, it's an automated voice. Okay, this isn't the Canada Revenue Agency. Okay, Canada Revenue will not contact you by phone. Okay, they will, if they want to contact you. Normally, it's through registered mail. Okay, so if there's any issues with your tax return or something like that, they will contact you through registered mail, not over the phone, not over email. And if they do send you emails, they will never ask you for any personal information. They will tell you to log on to their secured website, okay, and then you can log on to the proper means, okay. They will never require you to pay anything immediately. They will not call you and tell you that you will be arrested, and whatever you do, do not send money. Bottom line for all these scams is never ever send money. Okay? Nothing's ever urgent. You're not going to get arrested. But they play on your fears, right? So, immigration scam. So, Canada Immigration will not contact you by phone to let you know there's an issue with your paperwork. Okay? And you will not be immediately arrested because of this. Immigration will not require you to immediately pay something to correct this issue. And they will not go to your door to arrest you because of your paperwork. Okay? So, before I go any further, I'll just kind of go through how the whole process of a scam, okay? So you get the phone call, right? Let's say immigration. So they're gonna get you and they're gonna say, you need to pay money or else we're gonna send the police to arrest you. People get scared, they're like, oh, I have to send you money. How am I gonna send you money? They will talk you through this step by step, how they can get the money, okay? Most times they will say, I need you to go to your bank, withdraw $5,000 or $10,000. They will ask you then to go to the nearest Money Mart or Western Union, okay? And the thing is, with those different locations, they will tell you exactly where to go, but there's a limit to how much you can send. So say you're only allowed to send up to $5,000. So these guys will say, go to this Western Union, send $5,000 to this number. They'll give you some account number. So you do that. And then they'll say, okay, now I want you to go to this Western Union to deposit $5,000 more. Okay? And these guys will actually stay on the phone with you this entire process. While you're driving there, while you're walking there, while you're going to the bank. They may be on the phone with you for like an hour just to get your money. Like, obviously, it's not something that's normal. It's not something that the government would ever do. Okay, so that should be your warning sign. Believe it or not, people do fall for it, and thousands of dollars are defrauded every year. Okay. Another clue is that if you're asked to send iTunes cards or gift cards or anything like that, obviously no government agency would want to have iTunes cards, right? I mean, I don't know. It's maybe they listen to a lot of music or download movies, but the government will only deal with money and not iTunes cards or gift cards. Okay, so there you go. That's another clue. Okay, so if you ever get that far, say no. Just say no, guys. Okay, and there's vendors and people at stores now that are trained that if somebody comes into the store and wants to buy, thousands of dollars of iTunes cards, that's a red flag, and they need to call the police or talk to this person and make sure this person knows what they're doing. Okay? So, emergency scam. This is the phone call. It could be from if you have a relative overseas. Basically, they pretend to be like a grandparent, like a grandchild, for example. So this usually works with elderly people. So they're going to get a call from somebody who pretends to be a granddaughter or a grandson, and claiming to be in trouble and that they need money. Either there's an injury, somebody's in the hospital and they need to pay for medical bills, or they are in jail and they need to be bailed out. And they'll usually be vague enough and answer enough general questions that they may sound like they may know the person, right? But and the victim may kind of think it's you. But then you'll say something like, don't tell anybody about this. I don't want anybody to know about this. So they're not likely to discuss this with anyone else. And then they're asking the victim to wire money, okay, in the similar fashion that I've already discussed. Okay, so don't send money. Virtual kidnapping. So this is kind of something that happened a couple of years ago at this campus here in McMaster. So let's see here. So it affected, again, international students, but they were getting phone calls on their cell phones saying that this was the credit card company and that their card has been compromised somehow. Okay. And in order for this investigation to continue, we need to make sure that you do not use your phone, do not go on social media, do not send any emails, basically turn off your phone, don't answer your phone, okay? People who are not familiar with the system may just believe it, right? So once they do that, they contact the parent of that student in whatever home country they're in, and they say that their child has been kidnapped, and they're demanding a ransom, okay? So the parents obviously panic, or maybe they want to inquire, so they try to contact their child. But the child has turned off their cell phone, has basically cut themselves off online, no online presence anymore, no telephone calls, nothing, so they can't get a hold of them. That's when they start to worry. Okay, so they're trying to extort money and out of these parents back home. Yes, go ahead.
How do they make the connection? Like, how do they get all the information to know the student's number, but also the parents' contact information?
There are ways, I'm guessing, that they can get that information, either through international student agencies, or
through leaks, or through people in there giving it out.
It could be through leaks. It could be through somebody in that agency. Because there's agencies that set up the international students, right? And they get paid big money to do that, right? And they come here and they have all sorts of names, addresses, parents' names. So if they get a hold of that list, then they can use that and they start extorting people.
Is it people in the agencies giving it out, or is it it being accidentally leaked? Or,
it could be one of the other, either one. It could be leaked. It could be stolen. It could be hacked. I'm not sure, but it has happened, and it's happened at U of T. It's happened here, I'm sure, in the States as well. Okay, luckily no money has ever been extorted, but the problem is now the parents are worried, so they contact local police, which is us, and now we have to start an investigation and locate this person to make sure they're safe, right? And it's pretty hard to locate somebody who has no more phone, no nothing, no contact with anybody, right? So we have to make sure we find that person, make sure they're safe. And again, it's very difficult to find out who the fraudster scammers are because they use various means to hide their identity, phones, phone numbers, and stuff like that. Okay, so that's virtual kidnapping. Vacation scams are when you get told that you have won a vacation, okay, either like Air Canada, you went on a trip to the Caribbean. You may hear I was getting phone calls last year where you hear that from the cruise ship, right? Oh my gosh, I've heard that like 7 or 8 times a day at one point. So that is another scam, okay? Automatically generated call. They want you to pick up the phone and they say that you want a vacation, but then they're going to ask you for some kind of money or down payment on this vacation to hold it. Okay. Now, obviously, once you send the money, you never see it again, and it's not a legitimate prize. Okay. You may provide personal information. You may give a credit card to guarantee the trip, and they're going to use that credit card to buy other things and use it for their gain. Okay. So in Canada, you never have to pay money to win a prize. Okay? You never have to pay money for a lottery. You never have to pay money for anything like that. Okay? And just remember, if you've never entered a contest, then you cannot win that contest. Right? Make sense? If you've never entered this contest, then you shouldn't be winning this contest. All right.
I have a question.
Yes.
So on social media, we see these posts that talk about how someone wins a tablet and all you have to do is give like your credit card information for the
Yes.
delivery.
Yes.
And sometimes I've noticed that the contests are from legitimate startups. So are they also a scam? Like,
You have to be very, very wary of giving your credit card to anybody. Okay. So no, I would not personally be giving any money for any shipping or anything like that, right? Because you may never see that item, okay? And you don't know who you're giving that money to. If you didn't initiate that call, then you don't know who is there. So somebody, it's like that's another tip, okay? If you're receiving a call from somebody, you don't know who it is. You don't know who's on the other line. You don't know what business or what person it is. But if you call that legitimate business, then you know that you've reached them, right? So you can be sure that you're talking to Amazon or TD Bank or whoever you're calling, okay? But if it's something like that where you might have gotten like a text or a pop-up saying that enter this contest and you can win a tablet, stay away from those. Okay, chances are it's a scam. Okay, that answers your question. Great. Service scam. This is a scam that's usually saying that your computer is sending out viruses that needs to be cleaned. They claim to be calling from Microsoft, tech support from wherever, and they're saying that, okay, I need you to go onto your computer, log on to Windows, go to this website, and enter in all your information. Okay, and they'll give you a web address. Well, that address is fraudulent, it's fake. It's something that they've set up so that they can capture all your keystrokes, they can capture all your passwords and all your information. Okay? And yeah. They may try and charge you a fee to clean your computer, which has absolutely nothing wrong with it. Okay. Or they may actually have, like, you could click on a link that gives the scammer the ability to actually control your computer remotely control your computer. Okay, and then they can access your personal information and your files and stuff. Okay, so going to online scams. fly-ins. Gotta change that. Okay, so we're gonna talk about phishing. Okay, I don't know if anyone's familiar with that term. You've probably all heard it, maybe you don't understand what it is. Just being careful about counterfeit goods, the romance scam, and ransomware. Yes,
It's a romance scam.
I will get to that. It's the
Oh,
third
we're gonna
bullet.
go through them all.
Yes, third bullet on my point, I will get to that.
Sorry, well, this is it.
Okay, so again, all these things that you have to be aware of online, emails, websites, pop-ups and stuff like that, okay? So phishing. Phishing is pretending to be a legitimate company, sending emails to you in your email address, saying that you need to take action, and they're going to provide a link that you need to click on, okay? There's a lot of telltale signs that it's not a legitimate page, legitimate email, okay, and I'll go through a bit of those later on. But they want you to click on it so that it brings you to a certain website where, again, they can capture your information, and they want you to enter in all sorts of personal stuff, okay? All right, so like I said before, no legitimate business ever, okay? They may ask you to go to their website, official website, and then you can start changing things, and you should have to log on for that. Okay, so they want your login credentials to rectify some kind of urgent problem with your finances, TD Bank, Scotiabank, Amazon, Apple. I mean, I'm sure you've all received emails like that, okay? If you don't trust the email, never click on it, just delete it right away. It looks like it's real, legitimate, okay? Because they're going to do stuff like this. Okay, so you've just received an email from Amazon.com. Okay, I live in Canada, so I use Amazon.ca, so that's the first clue that, you know, they shouldn't be contacting me. You're going to see the email address that it came from. It'll look like it's real, right? But you notice that there's an A missing in Amazon there. Okay. Okay, so spelling mistakes, grammar mistakes. There's going to be a generic, non-personalized greeting there. They're going to say, you know, we need you to click on this link to confirm your identity. But you'll see this link here. Okay. It looks legitimate. Amazon.com, exact, whatever it is, sign on. But if you do something that's called hovering, so if you're on a computer and you hover your mouse over top of this, you'll actually see that the link that it's bringing you to is something completely different. Okay. So that's another clue that it's a fake email. So just, if you've received something like that, like I've received stuff from TD Bank and I don't even bank there. So obviously it's not real. Okay. Let's see here. So again, here's an example. So always log out of your online sessions. Never click on any links from any emails that you don't know where they're from or you suspect. Get into the habit of hovering. Okay, so look at this email address, this link here, google.com, right? You hover over that, and you see the actual link it's going to is different. Okay, you have been scammed.com. Right, so that's a technique that you can use to make sure that the link is proper. Okay. Never trust an email from your bank or other financial institution or the CAA. If you're in doubt, call your bank and then find out. And say you've just received this email, is it fraudulent? Okay, and they will forward you to their fraud department. Any questions? Oh yes, in the back there.
Just like to jump in and say, we would also like to, as Marissa mentioned in her presentation, we'd also like you to send it to that is-spam@McMaster.ca account.
Okay.
So it'll be just a look at it.
Okay, yes. So you may receive spam through your McMaster internal emails and stuff like that?
Yeah.
So these students may receive that, and then you forward it to you guys, right?
Forward it to us, and
Okay.
then we get a good sense of what kind of scams are happening within our student community and what messaging we can put out to tell detective.
Right. Okay. Very good. Okay, so free Wi-Fi, hotspots. So everybody wants to hop on free internet, right? They don't want to burn up all your data. Just be very careful. If you have a laptop, I know PCs, when you log on to a network, this will pop up in Windows, okay? Apple is a little bit different, maybe, I'm not sure. I don't have an Apple product, but when you log on to a Wi-Fi, a router, sorry, it'll ask you, is this a home network work network, or a public network. Okay? Always select the public network if you are worried about people gaining access to your computers and information. Okay? This is the most secure. Okay. Home networks are when you're at home and you're just connecting to your own router that you have a password to. But a public network will limit the amount of information that can be transferred from your computer to that router. Okay? So, everybody's heard of connected homes and stuff like that, smart homes, where everything is controlled through your smartphone, whatever, right? So that works by accessing your router, who sends the Wi-Fi signal out to all these devices. Okay, so if you can control your lights from somewhere else in the world, right? That means that everything that is hooked up to that router can be controlled by any of those other devices, okay? So if you're connecting to an unknown router, okay, that has somebody controlling it or administering it, someone else that's like illegally, someone who is up to no good has that router, then that means they can remotely control your devices through that router. Okay. So when you're looking at free Wi-Fi, and say you go to Starbucks, right? They'll have, you know, Starbucks, whatever the Wi-Fi that you pick, right? But be careful, because some people may disguise another router and say, you know, a variation of Starbucks, that you may pick the wrong one by accident, and it's not the one you're intending to go on, it's not the official one, but it's someone else who set up a different site. So you've now connected to their router, and now they can access your computer. Does that make sense, guys? Yeah? All right, so just be careful with that. Okay, counterfeit goods. This has to do with, like, you know, Kijiji or, you know, different buy and sell places. Just be careful when you're actually buying something, because you may end up getting some kind of counterfeit good or something that doesn't match the description. So, you know, whenever you buy something online, if it's not from a legitimate site like Amazon, eBay, or Wayfair or something like that, then you may take the risk of it being, you know, not real or not what you expected. Okay. Sometimes if you're selling something, you may sell something, say like a bicycle, and you say to the person, yeah, okay, you can have it for $500. Okay. So they may end up sending you the money, but they'll overpay you by like $300. So maybe they'll write a check for $800 and then send it to you or deliver it to you. And then they'll contact you saying, oh, sorry, I overpaid you. Can you send back the excess of $300? And so the person will be, okay, sure. Then they'll send the money back, and then at the end of it all, that check was fraudulent. It's not real. So now you're out the original amount. Your bicycle's out, and you've also given that person $300. Okay, so that's kind of the overpayment type of scam. Okay, so yeah, just be careful with online shopping, online purchases, counterfeit goods, goods that never show up, fake websites, phishing, offering you a free trial. Just ask yourself, is this a legitimate website? And if you can, use a third-party payment process like PayPal. Okay? That way you're not sending money directly to that person. It has to go through another third-party site that may, you know, have their own fraud prevention program, or they may be able to reimburse you if it was fraud.
There's a question.
Yes, yes.
If it's a sponsored link, is it like
Sponsored link.
yeah, you know, like some companies like New Year's and say it's a sponsored link.
You want to answer that?
Sure.
Go
Yeah, I'll
ahead.
jump in there. Sponsored links are typically boosted, promoted, they're ads.
Ads.
And you do have to be careful with that. Some are legitimate, some are not. So if you don't recognize it, if you're not comfortable with it, really trust your gut on it, and don't click on the ones that look a bit weird. But if it's, you know, a company you really recognize, and you recognize the branding around the ad, then absolutely.
So a romance scam, that's usually online romances that start off on chat sites and stuff like that. The person gets to know you, gains your trust, you've never met the person before, and then all of a sudden they claim to be needing money to travel somewhere or needing money for some other reason, and they're trying to get money out of you that way, okay? So online romances and stuff like that. They may ask for your bank account information or credit cards. Just don't share all that information with somebody you've never seen or met before. Okay, just be careful. I don't know. I've never been so I don't really know what's going on with that. Okay. And ransomware. This is where you get a pop-up message saying that something's wrong with your computer. That this IP address was used to collect to visit websites that are illegal, like pornography or whatever, and then they blackmail you, saying that unless you pay us some money, then we will release this information to the police. Okay, so they're basically it's like ransom. They're asking a ransom to delete all that information when really there's nothing on your computer. Okay. Okay, inheritance scam. This is where you get a letter from somebody claiming that you've inherited a big sum of money, and basically, in order to get that money, you need to transfer funds to somebody. Okay, so you see the recurring theme here. Before you can get something, you have to give them money. So you never should be giving anybody money. Okay, sometimes referred to as a Nigerian scam or West African fraud. Lotteries, you know. Don't believe any letters saying you've claimed you won money, and if you didn't enter the contest, you can't win that contest. Do not give any personal information. Oops. In Canada, you do not pay fees to accept the prize. You will never receive any money, and you'll be asked to send money from another source or to send someone personally. So they'll ask you to send the wire money and stuff like that. It's not right. Do not send money. Door-to-door scam. So when it's a door-to-door scam and they're coming at your door, they're very aggressive, they're very assertive, they're in your face. They say, I need to come into the house to check your water heater, or I need to, look at your furnace, or we've identified a problem with this area of all these furnaces. We need to make sure that you have the right one. So just don't let anybody into your house if you don't feel comfortable. Okay? They're gonna come. They're gonna have they may have like a little name tag or something like that. If you can, get the name, get the name of the business, the person's name, whatever. And if you don't feel comfortable letting them into your house, don't let them in. That's one of the ways that people break into houses is by doing canvassing. Okay, so if they'll knock on all the doors on the street, nobody answers, then nobody's home. But if somebody does answer the phone, then they have a ready excuse as to why they knocked on the door. And they'll go back and they'll break into all the houses that have nobody home. They're gonna try and make you buy a water heater or rent a water heater, maybe do your roof. There could be some charities that you've never heard of before. Okay, if you don't know what it is, you don't have to give anything. Don't be pressured into doing anything you don't want to. Okay. When it comes to if you do, I'll do this later on. Try not to be pressured. Don't let them into your home. Ask for photo ID, get the name and the company and any phone numbers. Okay? So if you do sign a contract for something, say somebody sells you an order of organic meat, grain-fed meat, and you kind of walk away afterwards and thinking, nah, I don't really want this, I was talked into this. There is a cooling off period that you now have. So if you do sign a contract, you have the right to cancel that contract for any reason within a 10-day cooling off period. So within 10 days, you can contact that company and say, I don't want this contract, it's not binding. Okay? This is for legitimate businesses, right? When it comes to a water heater contract, there's actually 10 extra days of cooling off. So say you bought like $2,000 worth of meat and you're like only one person and you're never going to eat that meat, then you can, before 10 days is up, you can go back and cancel that contract. Okay? All right. So we always tell you to protect yourself from frauds and scams. Stop, look, and listen. Nothing has to be done right away. Slow things down. Approach it in a calm manner. Okay, so stop before you act. Look at the situation, look at the contract carefully, take your time, okay? And look at it realistically and, see if this makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, then don't sign anything. You're not obligated to do anything. And listen, so you can take this and talk to a friend, talk to a parent, talk to the police, anti-fraud centers. You can inquire and research this to death and make sure that it's not a fraud. Okay? So those are some ways that you can prevent the fraud. Okay? Right. Just emails, telephone calls, anything that's trying to get anything out of you, be wary. Don't have to give anything. Ask a lot of questions. Don't fall for pressure sales. If you're on the telephone, hang up. That just ends it right there. Okay? Don't fall for sales and watch out for caller ID. Yeah, don't give any information out. Financial, credit cards, addresses, date of birth, anything like that, because they could use that information. And if you do fall victim to fraud, or you may have, or you feel somebody was trying to scam you, then you can call the Hamilton Police. You can call all these different divisions of the Hamilton Police. You can call the Canadian Anti-Fraud Center. And if you're here on campus, you can also notify McMaster Security. Okay. Yes?
So I have a question. So if someone's coming like door to door, and you said they get aggressive and stuff, what if they don't touch you, but they kind of like forcefully step in? Can you like?
You say, if you don't leave, I'm calling the police. You can call the police.
And if they get physical, can you do anything about it, or are you not allowed to touch them?
Well, if they're in your home as trespassing, right? Then you would want to get yourself to safety first, right? But if you're asking whether you can like push them out the door, yeah, you can push them out the door. Okay.
Because they won't call it harassment or anything, right?
No. If they're in your house, they're trespassing, and you can remove them by force necessary. Okay? But if you don't feel safe doing that or comfortable doing that, call the police, or threaten to call the police, and then call the police. And most times they will be. Okay? Don't let them in the house. Don't even open the door. Don't, just be wary of people coming to your door. Okay?
One time, I had someone like ring the doorbell, knock on my door a couple of times.
Yes.
I thought they left. I obviously didn't go to the door because I didn't trust it. And then I went back to do my work, and then they knocked again. And then I can actually hear someone knocking on the window.
Like on the side?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've called the police.
I just kind of waited until they.
Yes. You can call the police if there was a suspicious person in your neighborhood who's doing stuff like that, trying doors or going around houses and stuff like that. Call the police and we'll respond. Okay? Any other questions? I think that's the end of my presentation. So hopefully you guys have